आज के CIAP के उनका वेलकम तो एक शॉर्ट नोट में मैं करके फिर हिमा बिंदु मैडम को है ना इनवाइट कर लूंगा फॉर है
हम्म
ना इसके लिए, है ना।
हम्म हाँ
तो अपनी रिमार्क हिमा बिंदु मैडम दे देंगे। उसके बाद फिर है ना जो गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर है डॉक्टर GV बसवराजा सर के, सर उनके बारे में सर कौन आप बोलेंगे, कौन बोलेंगे सर?
जैसे बोलिए, उस बासव राजा के बारे में कितना क्या बोलना है,
नहीं
मतलब।
नहीं, वो तो प्रेसिडेंट आपने ये गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर हैं और ये है,
हाँ
शायद मैडम ही बोल देंगी उनको
सिर्फ
उनको।
हाँ
वेलकम करना होता है, उनके बारे में थोड़ी बोलना होता है।
नहीं नहीं नहीं,
नहीं,
उनको सिर्फ गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर है ना, तो मतलब
हाँ
थोड़ा
हाँ
सा
हाँ, 2 लाइन बोलनी होती है,
दो
वो
लाइन बोल
मैडम बोल
देंगे।
देंगी।
उसके बाद फिर है ना चावला सर को मैं इनवाइट कर लूंगा एज ए
हम्म
चेयरपर्सन, वो है ना स्पीकर सर को है ना वो इनवाइट कर लेंगे, है ना।
हम्म
ठीक
ठीक
सर।
है ना। तो चावला सर के पास आपने ये भेज दिया ना, स्पीकर
सर,
का
सर जैन
बायोडेटा
सर
सबका
का
भेज
नहीं
दिया?
है मेरे पास, जैन सर का नहीं है मेरे
तो
पास।
सर,
भेज
जयंत
दो
का
सर।
बायोडेटा नहीं है आपके पास?
नहीं है सर, प्लीज आप भेज दो मेरे को,
मैं
तो ये चावला सर को भेज दो सर डायरेक्ट आप।
नहीं, मैं नहीं भेज पाऊंगा,
तो आप
मेरा
मेरे को
व्हाट्सएप
भेज दो सर, मेरे को
मेरा
भेज
व्हाट्सएप बंद है। तो
ओहो।
मैं जयंत को ही बोलता हूँ।
हाँ हाँ।
तो सर
उसने
सर
ग्रुप
मेरी
में
आवाज
उसने
आ रही है?
डाला तो था।
सर,
हाँ नमस्कार सर।
हाँ डॉक्टर जयंत बोल रहा हूँ सर। मेरा जो मैंने PPT आपको भेजा है सर, आप उधर से प्ले कर सकते हो क्या? मेरा
मेरे
ये
पास।
अपना, मैंने आपको मेल किया है मेरा PPT।
हाँ,
आप अपने उससे प्ले कर सकते हो क्या?
वो
क्योंकि
आप।
जो मेरा लैपटॉप है उससे तो वो अपना कंपनी वाला है उससे।
हाय जयंत, वेलकम।
हेलो।
मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा, बट आई विल
हेलो।
कोऑर्डिनेट डॉक्टर प्रकाश। प्रकाश, आप कर पाओगे?
मेल नहीं, फर्स्ट टॉप
डॉक्टर प्रकाश वीर,
हाँ सर।
आप कर पाओगे इनका पीपीटी लोड?
सर नहीं कर पाऊंगा।
आप भी नहीं कर पाओगे? बिकॉज तो लैपटॉप में जयंत क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
मेरा ये कंपनी लैपटॉप में जूम सर डाउनलोड ही नहीं हो रहा ना।
ओ राइट 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 राइट, आई नो। वो जूम तो बैन है टाटा स्टील में।
हाँ,
तो ओके। समीर समीर है, समीर।
आपके लैपटॉप पे डाउनलोड करके अगर आप प्ले करोगे तो मैंने आपको भेज।
नहीं, मेरा लैपटॉप एक्चुअली क्लिनिक में पड़ा हुआ है, मैं घर आ गया।
हम्म।
तो आई एम ऑन मोबाइल।
Central Asia only.
So, Dr.
डॉक्टर समीर।
Sameer Shah has been named as a host. So, you can send it to Dr. Sameer Shah and he can then share it.
मैं देखता हूँ, इफ आई हैव द मेल आईडी ऑफ समीर शाह आई विल फॉरवर्ड।
तो मुझे बताइए, मैं भेज देता हूँ शाह जी को।
डॉक्टर
समीर शाह। समीर भाई, आपका मेल आईडी है समीर हिरल1 ना?
बराबर है सर। यार आप तो विवेक को भी भेज सकते हो, विवेक ऑल्सो कैन डू दैट थिंग, नॉट इश्यू।
अब मैं आपको भेज रहा हूँ, प्लीज डू हेल्प।
ठीक है। हाँ जी, हाँ जी, बराबर है।
भेज दिया मैंने समीर भाई।
ठीक है।
ओके।
have joined, only 30 have joined. Hello, very good
हेलो।
evening. Good evening, sir.
गुड इवनिंग।
गुड इवनिंग हेमा मैम।
Good evening, Sudhir sir. Good
हाउ
evening.
आर यू?
I'm fine. Video coming. Video is not coming.
Good evening, Dr. Pranesh.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
गुड इवनिंग।
नमस्कार चंद्रमोहन जी।
Hello.
हेलो। हेलो चंदन सर।
हाँ सर।
चंद्रमोहन जी नमस्कार।
मुझे कोई आवाज नहीं आई तो मुझे लगा कि शायद मेरा ऑडियो में प्रॉब्लम
नहीं
है।
नहीं नहीं सर, आप बिल्कुल
ठीक, मैं
ऑडियबल हैं।
एक बार अपना पीपीटी जस्ट शेयर करके देख लेता हूँ कि ये जा रहा
हाँ
है।
सर,
श्योर।
बिल्कुल सर,
फर्स्ट क्लास,
क्लियर हो रहा है, अच्छा आ गया।
बढ़िया। फुल स्क्रीन कर लीजिए।
ठीक है सर, ये मूवमेंट हो रही है। ओके,
गुड गुड।
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू। अब मैं इसको
ओके।
स्टॉप शेयरिंग कहाँ से होगा? एस्केप फुल स्क्रीन से। अब स्टॉप शेयरिंग, स्टॉप
अभी
शेयर।
ये कर लिया। हाँ,
जी
थैंक यू।
सर, जी सर, ठीक है सर।
गुड इवनिंग हेमा जी, गुड इवनिंग प्रकाश जी,
गुड इवनिंग मैडम।
गुड इवनिंग संदीप मिश्रा जी
सुषमा
और
मैम
सतीश
नमस्कार।
शर्मा सर, कैसे हैं सर?
गुड इवनिंग।
गुड इवनिंग गीता बंसल मैडम, गीता जी, दो गीता दोनों को नमस्ते, गुड इवनिंग नमस्ते, नमस्ते श्रमिक जी
Very good evening, Dr. Shrishma Desai.
वेरी गुड इवनिंग
नमस्कार मैम।
सतीश शर्मा जी, गुड इवनिंग।
Khalil sir, good evening. So
गुड
nice to
इवनिंग
see
सर।
you every other day.
मोहन सर, गुड इवनिंग। गुड गर्ल।
Good evening, Dr. Hema, Dr. Chandmohan,
Good evening sir.
Dr.
नमस्कार
Samik,
sir.
Dr. Jalil.
गुड इवनिंग सर।
Good evening, very good evening. Dr. Shalini, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Dr. Prasad, Chandramohan,
Good evening, Dr.
everybody.
Geeta.
Good
नमस्कार
evening.
मैम।
Yeah.
Good
गुड
evening.
Good evening,
इवनिंग
madam.
everyone.
Good
गुड
evening.
इवनिंग।
Dr. Sharma sir, namaskar, all of you.
Namaskar.
नमस्कार
Dr.
नमस्कार
Good evening, Chairperson, madam.
Good evening.
ना हाफ सेंचुरी
Good
हो गई
evening,
है
Dr.
अपन
Arvind
लोगों
Sharma.
की।
सर, नमस्कार सर, नमस्कार
Shall we start?
नमस्कार
Good
सर,
evening, Dr.
आनंद
Satish
सर,
sir.
नमस्कार।
नमस्कार
Good evening Dr.
बता
Amol.
दिए सर, 9:05 हो गया। We should
हाँ
start.
स्टार्ट करें मैडम।
Sir, Dr. Baswaraj ji के लिए एक मिनट sir, I will
हाँ
call him.
या मैडम।
आप छावला सर को बुलाओ सर, सर चेयरपर्सन है।
चावला सर से अभी बात हुई मेरी सर से।
तो let them enter sir, then both of them, then we can start.
हाँ सर, उनको बुला ले, दोबारा बात कर ले।
सीमा मैडम, गुड इवनिंग।
Good evening sir, good evening.
Yeah,
Hi Jalil sir.
is my PPT being uploaded? Can it be seen?
So once Dr. Baswaraj ji said he'll be joining in few minutes, but he asking us to start.
Good evening, Dr. Hima Bindu.
Good evening, Geeta Patil ji. I hope your throat is okay now.
Going on. Better than before.
Good evening, Sushma Desai
Can
ji.
my OPD be played? Can my PPT be played?
You can test it for 1 minute.
तो टेस्ट कर लो, तो डॉक्टर चावला सर बोल देंगे सर वो देख के।
I have sent.
Sir, Dr. Chawla sir को फोन किया.
हाँ बोल दिया, बात कर ली सर, ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं।
Okay. So we should start, I think.
सर मेरा PPT प्ले हो जाएगा ना?
हो जाना चाहिए।
भेज दिया है, हो जाएगा सर। डोंट वरी।
नहीं,
Thank you,
विवेक will do
समीर।
sir. विवेक will do.
संकट मोचन।
विवेक विल डू। विवेक को भेज दिया है, विवेक चेक कर लो।
विवेक चेक करो, आंसर तो करो भाई।
हैंड रेज
जस्ट
करना
आ रहा है, आ गया, बराबर है।
आ गया।
Okay.
सर इसमें
एनेबल
ना वो है ना,
एनेबल
उनका
एडिटिंग करो।
उनका स्लाइड
Hand
दे
raise
दो
करना
ना,
है।
लगा दो पहले जैन सर
एनेबल एडिटिंग,
इंट्रो।
मुझे
एनेबल एडिटिंग करो और स्लाइड्स हो।
Ma'am, I wanted to say something.
मोच आ गई तो यार लगाने की दवा
Yeah,
आएगी।
Meghana.
Yeah,
Good
hi ma'am,
evening.
good
हाँ.
evening.
Yes, good evening.
Ma'am, the youth who's coming today, na, she's already joined. Anandita, she's playing in Dehradun. So she has a final match tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. So in between, can I ask her questions first? whenever possible.
Dr.
In the
Chandram,
till 9:45.
yeah. I think Chandramohan ji, we should
ना
accommodate her.
interval
बीच में
Yeah,
पैनल
ma'am.
डिस्कशन के बीच में आप कर लीजिएगा
No, sir,
We
before we
are
start the
always
panel,
accommodating, ma'am. No problem.
before
हाँ
we
जी, बीच
start,
yeah,
Dr.
anytime. So
Bebina,
I'll ask her first.
before we
Yes.
start the panel, you interview the girl. After the panel, you interview the boy.
Okay, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank
So
you.
I think it's 9:06, so we can start the meeting. Dr. Basraj ji will be joining when he's, you can stop the stream.
क्या मैडम स्टार्ट करते हैं मैडम
We'll be joining as soon as he comes. We'll
Dr.
acknowledge his presence.
Dr. Basavraj is joined.
Already joined? Okay.
वेलकम सर वेलकम डॉक्टर बसव राजा सर
Yeah. So please
Good
start the
evening
meeting,
to
sir.
everyone.
Good evening,
गुड
Chawla
इवनिंग
sir.
चावला
Namaskar,
सर
sir.
गुड
Chawla
इवनिंग
sir.
चावला सर
Namaskar,
गुड
ji.
Dr.
इवनिंग
Arya sir, please start the
Sasrikal
meeting.
ji.
I request we'll go live on the YouTube. With the recording will start. So I request Dr. Arya sir to start the formal meeting.
very good evening. I welcome all the esteemed dignitaries from the CIAP and AHA attending this third webinar on adolescent orthopedics. I welcome all the dignitaries present from the CIAP. Our guest of today's webinar, Dr. C.V. Basavaraja sir, guest of honor, Dr. Chawla sir, and all the panelists, Dr. Chandmohan sir, and all other panelists. Now I invite our Silver Jubilee Chairperson Hima Bindu Madam for the opening remark and welcoming the guest and speaker panelists. Hima Bindu Madam.
Ma'am, you are mute.
हिमा जी unmute करो.
Yeah. So very good evening and thank you, Dr. Arya sir. So this is a very prestigious program, our monthly webinars of Central AHA. And so very much special, more so because we are in the silver jubilee year of our Adolescent Health Academy. And we have made it, we have taken the theme as super specialties this year. So every month we are conducting a academic session on a super specialty topic. So this month, our scientific chairperson, Dr. Sudhir Mishra ji, along with his team, has chosen the topic on adolescent orthopedics, focusing more on sports, around sports injuries and orthopedic common problems in adolescents. So I welcome all of you to this special webinar. And one more very unique thing what we added even during our academic webinars is to have an youth on our webinar. So the youth is there. We have dedicated one lecture, then we have a panel discussion and a youth voice. So the youth voice is actually captured by a young pediatrician, that too. So this is what we thought, so that we involve everybody, and this is something unique which we started. And we welcome all the young people today on board on the Central AHA. So a very special welcome to the youth for whom we are all working for last 25 years. Indian Academy of Pediatrics is dedicated to work on the youth along with the AHA, and we are so happy that we are collaborating for this and driving the Youth Wellness Empower Yuva program this year. And the Wave 18, a unique program which is initiated on 18th of every month, is another flagship program of AHA, and we look forward for huge participation from all the pediatricians from all over the country. And on behalf of AHA, I would like to specially welcome Dr. Basavaraja ji, who's been our president of the very, very dynamic president. We used to call him Dynamo. He's the mitochondria of IAP. And we still think definitely he is still our mitochondria. Dr. Basavaraja ji, thank you for joining with us. And we had a very, very dynamic year last year. And we look forward for your leadership, and your mentorship to all of us continues and handhold us, AHA especially, and in your future too. So also welcome Chawla ji, our past chairperson of AHA, who's agreed to chair this session today. And all the speakers of today, we have adolescent experts, sports medicine experts. We have our EB member, Dr. Chandramohan, who will be moderating the session. And we have pediatricians like Sridhar, we have Meghna, we have
Yashvi Deshpande.
Yeah, Madhushi Deshpande, who's been working on defense, self-defense workshops. So all those, even Amok Shane. So we all know this pediatricians who are relating themselves with resilience, sports, and other activities. A special welcome to our orthopedic friends, Dr. Abhay Harsh and also Dr. Jayant Kumarji. And we are also going to welcome our sports medicine expert, who is Dr. Siddharth from Kerala.
Siddharth.
So while welcoming all our pediatric colleagues and a young youth here, I request Dr. Arya sir to please welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Basavaraj ji, to please give his blessings and message.
Thank you, madam, for nice words. Now I welcome Dr. G.V. Basavaraja sir, President CIAP 2024, and invite him for the
Thank you so much.
for give a blessing to us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Prakash Veer Arya ji,
Sir.
and our Honorable Chairperson of National Chairperson of AHA, Professor Hima Bindu Singh, Chairperson elect, Dr. Sushma Desai, our immediate past Chairperson, Dr. Geeta Patil, and all other stalwarts of adolescent chapter, with the presence of Chitra Kulkarni Madam, Geeta Bansal, our Ajit Singh Chawla ji, and Sneha Madam, our Treasurer of National AHA, and Neha Singh, Chandra Mohan, who is a very dynamic member of our AHA, Dr. Hamoga Saine Madam, and R.N. Sharma ji, and all. So AHA Shalini Madam also is there. Okay. Our AHA is always doing a wonderful work, coming out with a lot of innovation and creative things. So with this webinar, especially the things which is related to the adolescent, especially our orthopedic problem is something which is in a niche to be addressed. So in that context, this webinar will definitely will make a difference in empowering our pediatrician and our adolescent specialists like our Shami Ghosh and Joint Secretary of AHA also be there. So I'm sure with all the interaction of all the stalwarts, it will make a meaningful difference to the things. Best wishes to the this national webinar on orthopedic problem. So our friends of orthopedic also been joined here. So that really makes a useful contribution to this webinar also. Best wishes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Basavaraj ji. Thank you. Now we request sir to please invite Dr. Chawla sir, the chairperson of this webinar, who's been our past AHA chairperson from Punjab, stalwart of AHA.
From Ludhiana.
Yes, sir. Please welcome him, sir.
Now I welcome Dr. A.S. Chawla sir, today's chairperson for the today's webinar. He was our AHA president 2020. He is from Ludhiana. Sir, Dr. Chawla sir, please start करें, and डॉक्टर जयंत कुमार जो आज के गेस्ट स्पीकर हैं उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करें सर. चावला सर.
सर अनम्यूट कीजिए सर. सर कैन यू प्लीज अनम्यूट सर.
सर आप म्यूटेड है.
Yeah, am I audible now?
सर जी आप म्यूटेड है.
आप हैं चावला सर.
चावला सर जी आप म्यूटेड है.
सर सुनने नहीं सुन रहे.
नहीं सुन रहे. हाँ आप कर रहे हैं कर रहे हैं.
हाँ कर रहे हैं.
The host can also unmute.
विवेक. Unmute Dr. Chawla. Meantime, a few words from our Dr. Sushma Desai Madam and Dr. Geeta Patil. Sushma ji.
Yeah, a very good evening to all the stalwarts, Dr. Basavaraj sir from Central IIP, and all the stalwarts from IIP and AHA. For the short of time, I'm not going to name everyone, but my respectful regards to all of you. Dr. Himaji has started as a Silver Jubilee
सर आप अनम्यूट हो
chairperson.
जाओ फिर बात करो
Dr. Himaji has started this very innovative
हो जाओ
webinars,
अच्छा
and we
आपसे
are
नहीं हो
very
रहा
proud of it.
Okay.
So I wish my
Okay.
choicest wishes, the best wishes for the success of this webinar series, and taking the
अब हो
youth
गया
and the young practitioners on board is an innovative idea, and we are very happy to be a part of it. All the best from my side, and I welcome all the panelists and the youth participants. I'm sure that they are going to, rock today. So with that, I stop here, and my best wishes once again to the webinar.
Thank you, Sushma ji. Geeta madam, few
Geeta
words,
madam.
please. Dr. Geeta Patil. Shavla sir is now unmuted. Sir,
Yes,
over to
yes.
you. Yes, sir. Please, sir. Please go ahead, sir. Chairing the session.
I am
We welcome
unmuted
you.
now.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Please,
sir.
sir. We welcome you, sir, to chair this session. And we request you to introduce Dr. Jayant Kumar, sir. Sir, I've sent the CV on your WhatsApp. He is actually from Tata main hospital from Jamshedpur. Can I introduce him, sir?
Hello.
Ajay,
Am
sir,
I
can
audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
Okay. First of all, I am very thankful to my AHA team, led by Dr. Hima Bindu and Prakash Virarya, and all other my team members, Dr. Geeta, Dr. Sushma, and I congratulate to all of you for your great success. Dr. Basavaraja, kindly accept my wishes. So I am thankful to Team AHA and Team IAP for giving me an opportunity to be with you for this very important topic of sports injury management and management of pediatric and adolescent orthopedic problems. Dear sir, knowledge about the sports injury is crucial for prevention, early recognition, proper management, and rehabilitation, ultimately contributing to athletes' safety, well-being, and long-term success. As we are seeing a lot of cases starting from the mild problem, that is lumbar muscular strain, ankle strain, tenosynovitis, and even fracture. Even some cases deaths are reported. So there is a need of screening of the adolescent for a particular game and need of adolescent expert to know regarding the fitness of the adolescents. For this, previously we also had conducted two panel discussion on sports injuries in two adolescent. One is at Delhi and second is when the Gita was there as a president. Other common orthopedics problems in the form of congenital, developmental, metabolism, traumatic will be also shared by our panelists. We also listen to the youth. That is very important, as Dr. Hemamindu had said. It is a barrier to the sports and the uh, physical changes. So for the sports injury, the competent and learner orthopedic surgeon is with us. That is Dr. Jayant Kumar. Dr. Jayant Kumar, he is a consultant unit head at Tata Main Hospital, Jamshedpur. He is an associate professor in Manipal Tata Medical College, Jamshedpur. He had a many fellowship, unaccounted. He had many papers also about this. I should not name fellowship, shoulder and upper extremity, orthopedic trauma, then arthroscopy and sports medicine, arthroscopy and joint replacement. अब मैं किस किस की बात करूं, कितनी कितनी मेरे भाई के पास fellowship है, you will listen from him now. So I will request Dr. Jayant, kindly start your deliberation. Dr. Jayant, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chawla. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So first of all, thanks for inviting me for this prestigious get together by the AHA, and thanks to especially Dr. Sudhir Mishra sir for giving me this opportunity, and I congratulate the whole team for choosing such a sensitive topic. So without wasting time, I would like to begin my talk. So I have, can I have my slides on screen? I request for that. So yeah, thanks. So the topic, as it is evident, it will focus mainly on the prevention of the sports injury in the very sensitive age group, that is the adolescent age group. Next slide, please. I've already been introduced by Chawla sir, and thanks for his generous introduction. Can we have the next slide? Yeah. I would like to begin with this very alarming picture. It was exactly a year ago, and if you can see that, it's the largest bridge under construction in the country, the Pakor Bridge or the Kosi River Supal. Last year it collapsed. What this picture basically shows, a bridge under construction collapsing. Next slide, please. What I wanted to highlight is that the back slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So I wanted to highlight is that the adolescent age is just like a bridge between the child and the adulthood. And there are many aspects of it: studies, sports, social behavior, nutrition, and it's a dynamic stage. And I can consider the adolescent as a stage where work is in progress. Next slide, please. So when there is work in progress, there is bound to be weak links. And when we consider sports injuries, these are the links that are responsible for injuries. And if we identify them, then that's easier for us to prevent the injuries. Now for adolescent age, if we come to the musculoskeletal system, they are unique because they have a growing bone with open growth plates. The muscles are not very well developed for the competitive sports that they intend to play. Plus, there are weak links where the ligaments attached to the bones or the tendons attached to the bones. So these are the sites, when they are subjected to sports, these are sites which give way and injuries are bound to occur. Then even the mind of an adolescent is developing. Along with that, he or she does not have that much of awareness about the injury and how to prevent, how the injury can happen, whether it will happen or not. They play in a very selfless and enthusiastic way without being aware of the injuries. And in this growing age, they tend to be very self-conscious and image-conscious. And sometimes this drives them for a risk behavior, to impress the peers or the parents or the coaches. And that again poses them to injuries. So these are the weak links in the adolescence, and that's why they are more prone to injuries. Next slide, please. So before I begin further, let's try to understand the significance of this topic. Now, this is data from the Indian studies. The prevalence of adolescent sports injuries in Indian studies have been varying from somewhere around 34% to 73%. Notably, it is much higher than the developed countries where the prevalence has been shown around 30%. So this is much more relevant for our clinical practice day to day. Boys have been shown to having more injuries than girls. Probably the studies had more enrolling of boy adolescents. That's why these studies show that. Lower limbs followed by upper limbs, head and trunk. This is the sequence of injuries that tend to happen. A 3.7 per 1,000 playing hours or practice hours is what the injury report has been reported in the Indian literature. It is more commonly seen if the adolescent age is playing without a specific coaching guidance. Very importantly, the return to sports after they had an injury is 39.8 to 83%, the variable figure because of lack of much of the literature. But this figure is very important because once they are injured, the chances of their returning is very low. Now, a sports injury in adolescence has many impacts on the adolescents, right? From the physical impact, which may hamper his growth, leading to later on development of osteoarthritis, or because of injury to the physeal plate level, developing a deformity. If he has a concussion injury which goes unnoticed, he may develop long-term cognitive and behavioral problems. There are psychosocial problems associated with it, like anxiety, depression, and a reduced quality of life. A child, if he stops playing because of injury, he starts developing these things in his mind. And more importantly, he's very afraid of playing again because of the fear of re-injury. And that impacts his social performance, and that may lead to him dropping out from the sport. And that ultimately may lead to a social isolation because he doesn't have a friend circle, loses his friend circles. And a break from the injury and the social circumstances may also impact his academic performance. There are long-term consequences as well, because if he drops out from sport, he may have reduced physical activity, which may lead to certain long-term consequences like obesity, cardiovascular disease, and other health problems. Similarly, missed or undiagnosed sports injuries can later on lead to a chronic pain. So looking at this slide, we can very well understand that if we do not prevent these injuries, we can have our adolescents suffering from multiple problems throughout their life. Shows the significance of this topic and the need to identify and prevent these sports injuries. Next slide, please. So before we go further into prevention of sports injuries, there are three things in sports injuries which can be fatal and must be, as a practitioner, we must be ensuring that we prevent it. And we can remember it with the 3H: heat illnesses, head injuries, and heart or cardiac injuries. Now, injuries during sports related to these three can be really fatal, and it's paramount that we prevent that. Next slide, please. So the heat injuries, when it comes to prevention, we have to understand the continuum. It can start from heat cramps to exhaustion to heat stroke. And we must be very vigilant to recognize the early signs like fatigue, dizziness, nausea, which are very common and easily missed by ignoring them. The principle is to stay hydrated. The recommendations are at least 2 hours before you go for the sports, at least 500 to 600 ml of water intake is mandatory. 20 minutes prior to sport, again 230 and 300 ml of water intake is mandatory. When on playing, you should prefer chilled fluids, especially in the warm weather. Periodic drinking should also be enforced. Like every 20 minutes, ask the athlete to keep drinking sips of water, 250, 300 ml. If he is to play for longer times, sport drinks are preferred. He should be given time to acclimatize to the warm weather and with a gentle warm-up. Preferably, if you have to schedule the practice sessions, prefer it in the cooler hours during the evening or early morning. Monitor the heat and humidity. That's very important, that we monitor the heat and humidity and the daily weight loss. If it is happening, that's a sign that he is losing fluid. Rest should also be scheduled in shade where he can be prevented from heat injuries. And finally, lightweight, light colored clothing also allows for ventilation. So these are the tips how we can prevent the heat illnesses. Next slide, please. For head injuries, now this has been a recent concern. Head injuries, especially the concussion thing, it should not be missed. Now we see in many sports that there are physicians on ground. After a single episode of injury, they will go and examine the player, and they do not allow return to play till they are cleared by the medical profession. And definitely no return to play during the same game if your patient, if the adolescent has any symptoms as shown here, which are related to the concussion. It goes without saying that use of protective equipments like helmets are a must wherever you feel that there is a high chance of head injuries. And our adolescents, because they have a higher head to body weight ratio with weaker neck muscles, they are more prone to develop head injuries. So protective equipment in the form of helmets is a must. And be very alert about the concussion is also very important. Next slide, please. And the third thing that can happen is the cardiac events. Now, many pediatric patients may have some congenital cardiac issues which remain very silent till they first start playing on the ground, and then by that time it's too late. So a routine use of pre-participation physical evaluation forms, which next please. Physical evaluation form, generally it has a small column for detecting the heart related questions. And if you have gone through this pre-participation physical evaluation, you will be able to pick up those children which have heart issues and probably prevent them from going into those sports and prevent fatality on the ground. Next slide, please. So with after we have gone through the basics for preventing the fatalities, which is paramount, let us now look into more generally how to prevent the sports injuries. So I would like to cover it under identifying the high risk category adolescents, modifying the external environment, following certain basic protocols to prevent injury, and then certain sports specific injury prevention programs to prevent sports injury. Next slide, please. So if we go as per the systemic review very recently in 23, they have identified certain in the adolescent itself, they have identified age group 13 and below, that is 10 to 13, which are more prone to develop sports injuries compared to the later adolescents. Among sex, females have been found again to have more chances of developing sports injuries because of the body shape, the distribution of muscles, and poor balance techniques and muscle imbalance. They are more prone to develop injuries, especially of the knee and ankle. Again, body type obese adolescents have a 34% higher risk. They have been seen to having more risk for sports injuries. And as I highlighted earlier, egocentric, attention-seeking personality adolescents may overdo their sports and again have a higher tendency of developing sports injuries. Without saying, contact sports like football, soccer, and rugby. Again, so if you have an adolescent who is of this profile, then be alert and identify them and give special attention to them to prevent these sports injuries. Next slide, please. Now, among the basic prevention protocols, before any sport, you must tell the adolescent to do a light warm-up, 5 to 10 minutes. And what is the easily identified landmark? Once you start light sweating, that's the time you feel that you have had enough warm-up. The warm-up has to be practice-specific movements, like it should involve movements and drills that are relevant to your sports. Gradually increase its intensity, and then you may even add certain skill-specific drills which will enhance your performance in the sport. All of this in the 5 to 10 minute warm-up, so that it doesn't become monotonous and becomes interesting for the adolescents. Next slide, please. Goes without. Next slide, please. Goes without saying that stretching, one of the most important things after you had a light warm up, stretching is highly recommended before you start playing. The stretching can be a dynamic or a static. The dynamic one involves exaggerated movement that mimic your sporting activities, whereas static stretching involves holding the muscles for 15 to 30 seconds and then allowing it to gradually stretch. The most important thing is never stretch to the point of pain. It should be a slight pull and target the major muscles of your body like the calf, thigh, hips, lower back, neck, and shoulders. Breathe deeply and evenly throughout the stretch, and you may repeat it 2 to 4 times on both sides of the bodies. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And the next slide. So the next basic prevention protocol is to follow the proper training techniques. Now, for this, you need a supervised practices under the qualified coach or trainers who oversee your training sessions, and they see if there's any deviation from the technique which is safe for your game. They will point out right there, and that will prevent injury. And then with the right technique, if you perform repeated drills, then you enhance your sports performance in an injury-free pattern. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. May I have the next slide? Yeah. The external environment is another crucial thing which is in our hands to modify to prevent these injuries, like the playing surface. Although the literature does not show any distinct advantage of one surface like a softer surface over a harder surface, yet one thing is crucial is the regular maintenance of the surface to ensure that the adolescent doesn't undergo the injuries. Goes without saying, the protective gears as shown in the figure must be ensured fitting snugly and comfortably, allowing full range without being too loose or tight. Should have adequate certifications. Inspect them regularly to ensure that if they are damaged, they are replaced. And for specific games, consult the coach or medical professional to ensure that sports specific equipments are available to the adolescent. Next slide, please. And finally, there are certain specific sports specific injury prevention programs. And there are few that I have listed here, like the ISPAIN program, the FIFA 11 Plus core stability, the PEP program, the sports metrics, the GAA 15, and the 4BR. Now, these are different sports specific prevention programs. Some of them focusing on the lower extremity, some focusing on the ACL injury prevention, which is one of the most common injuries happening. Some are just certain generalized programs focusing on how to recover after an injury. So these sports specific programs, some are for the female, especially the PEP program. So these sports specific program, depending on how your adolescent is, you should target and make sure that they undergo that and prevent the injuries.
Very nice, Dr. Jan.
Finally,
It was a nice presentation.
effective recovery protocol, rest, rehab, gradual return to sports, and a good psychological support if they have gone through injury, especially group counseling and all, which helps them to come back.
Money.
Next slide, please. This is all about the prevention of these injuries. I hope it was useful to all. Thank you.
Dr. Chawla sir, thank you. Now we'll be inviting our Chandramohan sir. Chandramohan sir. Chandramohan Kasi.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here with my colleague.
We know him. He's our very well-known dynamic figure, youngster. He looks young, but I don't know how young he is. He's our executive board member in our central AHA, and he's been a professor and HOD at AIMS Patna. And I have seen his dynamism recently. I was in Bihar Pedicon. He's a very good organizer, and he gels with all the youngsters and the seniors. And really, Chandramohan, you can do a lot, and all the best for all your future endeavors. Now, I request you to kindly moderate this very interesting session on common sports injuries and orthopedic problems in adolescents, and especially related to gymming, exercise, nutrition, and other issues. Thank you. Over to you. You can introduce your panel.
So, good evening, everyone. And first of all,
just a minute, Chandramohan. I think Meghana was telling she wanted to have one talk with an adolescent. Meghana, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. I was just about to ask you, ma'am, actually the youth has a match tomorrow morning.
No, it's okay. Now what you are saying is we request Chandramohan, before you start the panel, and shall we introduce your panel first, and then we would like to hear the youth voice, as you say.
You can start the youth voice first, and then we will go with the panel.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Meghana?
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, sir.
Madam, Dr. Meghana is MBBS DNB Pediatrics. She is Senior Consultant Pediatrics from Asian Hospital, Faridabad. And she is Vice President of IAP, Faridabad. Now, I invite Meghana to introduce the youth voice.
So thank you so much for the kind introduction. So let's get to the youth we have today. I'm so excited to introduce Miss Anandita Upadhyay. Anandita, are you there? She's ranked number 1 under 16 years of age for India. Anandita, are you there?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think we should invite her with a big round of applause. To have a youth on our forum.
A big round of applause.
Anandita, can you put your video on?
Yes, Anandita, please do that.
Anandita, we really appreciate, we really appreciate you that you consented to come on a central AHA. We are all pediatricians, we are doctors, but we are your friends. So we don't feel, that you are in a big forum, but we all love to listen your voice. Okay, so feel free, and Dr. Meghana will be as friendly as possible with you. We want to listen your concerns, right, and your opinions. Thank you for being on board with us. Yeah.
Great. She's ranked number 1 under 16. She's a tennis player, and right now she's, I think today she's won her quarterfinals. Tomorrow she has semifinals, morning 9 o'clock. Okay, so we'll not take a lot of time, but I would also want to mention that she's selected for the trial camp. India Davis Cup under 16, and she'll be going to Kazakhstan. So really, we are so proud of you, a girl from Haryana. Okay.
Haryana always tops in sports, right?
Yes.
And that too, the girls do well, so well there.
Haryana ki choriyan top pe.
Wow. So
So coming
congratulations.
directly to you, Anandita, I want to ask you a question. Yesterday, you
Yes,
shared with me one of your stories which you had where you experienced a little hurdle. When the muscle goes into a hurdle, what happens right before your match?
ma'am.
Can you share your story with all of us? There are stalwarts from adolescent medicine over here, and definitely they'll listen to you. Okay?
Okay.
And
So
आप
first,
हिंदी इंग्लिश कैसे भी बोल सकते हो आराम से
yeah.
कैजुअली बिल्कुल कूल ओके
So first of all, a very good evening to everyone, all the senior doctors and all the doctors, and thanks for having me. So about that injury part, okay. So when I started playing tournaments in 2021, then I had my first nationals in Mumbai. So and before going to that tournament, 1 week before, I had a knee injury. So we went to doctors. They told me that it's not possible for me to play, but still it was my first tournament, so I had that thing ki I have to explore all of the players and see that what are they doing. So I went there. So I was in qualifying round. So every time before the match, I used to go to the physiotherapist, and they used to give me some medicines before the match. So I qualified for main draw, and in main draw, my first match was with, like, in at that time she was in India number one when I started playing tournaments. So I won the first set, but in second set, my knee again, like, it was paining, so I had to concede that match. Yeah. So after
and
that,
our orthopedic doctor has said listen to your body that was one thing right
yes, ma'am.
yeah. Go ahead yeah
So when we went to doctors, then they told me that there is no problem in my knee, but my thighs muscles are very much stiff. So then he told me to work on more, like, flexibility and do more stretching before the match and after the matches. So yeah, then I worked on it, and now it's perfectly fine. Yes.
great good very nice. I'm so happy you've shared it with us. And again, all the best to you for tomorrow's match. Is there anything which you want to ask to our orthopedic sports person who's just given a very nice presentation? आपको सर से कोई पूछना है question बेटे?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank
great,
you, Anindita.
good.
If you can stay
So
on with us, we will be happy because we have experts on the
I'll
panel,
hand
and
it
Dr.
over to
Chandramohan
Dr.
over.
Chandramohan sir. You please start. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, all the
I would
best,
request
Anandita, for
Anindita-
tomorrow's match.
I would
Thank
request
you so much,
Anindita
ma'am.
to be with us for a few more minutes because we have some questions which will help you in long run. Yeah.
Anindita, you can be with us for some more time, please.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Oh, please move. Yeah.
So now, first of all, I would thank the AHA, Central AHA, for giving me this opportunity. And I'm really thankful to the AHA chairperson for this opportunity because usually I'm a very diversified man and I wish to delve into many more domains. So this is a new domain which was interested on me. And as I can see, the new champions like Ananta are coming and they are suffering. So I believe some of us, we pediatricians and adolescent physicians, we should be more aware and more knowledgeable about sports and sports injuries and the gymming and other problems. So today we will be discussing is the common sports injuries and orthopedic problems in adolescent related to gymming and exercise. So to discuss the topic, we have a distinguished panel, and let me introduce to my panel. We have Dr. Nalam Sridhar from Hyderabad, Jayashree Deshpande, Amog Sahane, Siddharth Unnithan, and Abhay Kerkete. And it's a very diverse panel. So first of all, Dr. Nalam. Dr. Nalam is the secretary of Telangana IAP, PATS Telangana, and he is a professor in Apollo Institute of Medical Sciences, Hyderabad, and he's a long practitioner. And we were talking of diversity, so he has a LLB degree. So apart from his pediatrics, he is also a legal consultant for all of us. He may be, and he has been doing a lot of work for the IAP and as well as for the common pediatric issues in the Telangana. So apart from him, we have Jasri Deshpande. He is the IAP president of the Palghar district in Maharashtra. She has been working in field of adolescent health for quite a long time, and she has also a special interest in 2D echocardiography, so she can take good health of the good care of the adolescent children's heart also. So among her major achievement, she has been empowering girls and women regarding self-defense, and in our various pedagogues, she has been on the forefront on taking care of empowering the girls. Our third panelist is Dr. Amog Sahane. As you can see, she is a very vibrant, vivacious, and she has been practicing in Kharghar, Navi Mumbai. And she is a director of Sanvi Children's Hospital and also consultant at the Sri Satya Sai Heart Hospital, Kharghar, Navi Mumbai. So she has been very active in IAP also, EB member from Navi Mumbai, and she has been organizing SSS CIP modules for the Navi Mumbai as a coordinator. Now the star for the today's day, we have a MD Sports Medicine, Dr. Siddharth Unnithan. Siddharth Unnithan is a FIFA, Federation of International Football Association Diploma in Sports Medicine. So truly, we are blessed to have Dr. Siddharth today in our panel. And he is working as a sports medicine consultant in Le Regian Hospital in Kochi, as well as the Esther Medicity Hospital, Kochi, Kerala. And he has been affiliated and associated with the All India Football Federation Medical Committee member and the Chief Sports Medicine Consultant for the Kerala Cricket Associations also. So he has been into all sorts of sports related things for quite a long time. And we have our final participant today is Dr. Abhay Hars Kerketa, a graduate and postgraduate from CMC Ludhiana, and he has been working in Tata Jamshedpur as a ex-associate professor of Tata Manipal Medical College, where Dr. Sudhir Misra sir was previously working as HOD pediatrics. So he has been special training in Concordia Hospital, Rome, Italy. So we have a diversified panel. So we have people who can talk on the general aspects as well as the specific sports and orthopedic issues. So to go with the topic, first we will introduce the topic. As we know, adolescence is a stage of the critical period of change. As the changes happens, the pubertal changes happens, the psychological and cognitive changes happens, so happens with the musculoskeletal system. And the participation in gym workouts and sports and exercises have a key role in promoting strength, flexibility, and other that strength gaining activities in the adolescents. Inappropriate training, overuse, improper technique, and lack of supervision can lead to sports injuries and orthopedic problems. As you heard Anindita talking about having some thigh muscle issues. So that is very important because the enthusiastic youngsters, they may sometimes overdo things. These injuries range from the muscle strains and ligament tears to the growth plate injury that may have long-term consequences. And the understanding this epidemiology, risk factor, and the latest advancement in the sports medicine can help prevent and manage these conditions more effectively and produce more champions. So sports injuries account for 30 to 40%, as Dr. Jayan told, of all adolescent injuries. And overuse injuries represent around about 50% of all the sports-related orthopedic injuries in the teenagers. That is a study from American Academy of Pediatrics. And the most commonly affected areas include the knees, which is affected in 30 to 40% cases, ankles account for 25% cases, and shoulders 10 to 15%, and lower back is also very important in 5 to 10% cases. Gym-related injuries have been increased due to the rising popularity of resistance training among adolescents, with a 34% increase in the gym-related injuries in the teens over the last decade. Actually, now the teenagers everybody wants to look like Tom Cruise, and the people are working very, very strenuously in the gyms. So that is having its toll too. So what are the specific high-risk groups? So these groups are adolescent athletes in high impact and strength-based activities. Those are into weightlifting, CrossFit, gymnastics, and football. beginners and unsupervised gym goers with the poor technique. This is a very, very important group in India, particularly because nowadays we are only two sorts of teenagers. One are the couch potatoes, and others are very, very enthusiastic gym goers who are not adequately trained or supervised. That may lead to some tricky situations. And the female athletes at high risk of ACL tears and stress fractures due to biomechanics. So today, we will see what are the common injuries and their incidences. Knee injuries account for 30 to 40%, which are commonly associated with squatting, jumping, and running. Ankle sprains and stress fractures, 15 to 25%. It's due to poor footwear and running on hard surfaces. So this is an important preventable area where we can be very useful. The information will be useful. The shoulder impingement and rotator cuff strains are same in 10 to 15%, which is more common for the bench press and overhead pressing. And the lower back strains and disc injuries, this is 5 to 10%, but they are very, very crucial and critical. They may even lead to paraparesis. So deadlifts, squats, and improper form is the important cause. And the growth plate injuries are seen in 10%, which are overload weights and the repetitive stress. So with this, I will first go to our first participant, Dr. Nalam. So Sridhar, can you tell me what are the common sports injuries and orthopedic problems which are in adolescents related to gymming and exercises?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank the AHA chairman, our sister, Dr. Himabindu Madam, who had given me this golden opportunity to speak all over with you all. And it's a nice introduction, sir. What you said is exactly the same thing. The inappropriate exercises, improper techniques, and lack of supervision. These are the main three things. And over enthusiasm. The beginners, they want to build up very fast the bodybuilding and weight everything. So these are the things where we can cause so many injuries to the sports injuries. And out of them, the classification, what types of sports injuries? Acute injuries, which can be suddenly occur due to the trauma, either falls or collisions, and chronic injuries, which develop gradually due to overuse, repetitive movements in the sports. And also the common musculoskeletal injuries are again classified into fractures, dislocations, sprains, strains, and tendinitis and bursitis. So when we think of the most of the bone fractures with the trauma, sudden impact, the acute fractures will be there and can be simple, and hairline fractures and or compound fractures, and also stress fractures because of the repetitive impact. And also, as earlier said, the most important thing is growth plate fractures, where it will take more time to recover. And second is dislocations, where the joints occurs when bones in a joint are forced apart. Commonly, shoulder dislocation is very much common, and I have seen in cricket, the bowlers will be having the shoulder dislocation. And Rohit Sharma, our captain himself, had a shoulder dislocation, and but still he is leading leading India. And sprains and strains, we say this overstretching of overuse. But sprain is the mainly the ligament injury. As Sir said, anterior cruciate ligament injury is the commonest and common in tennis and golf and contact sports, and can range from mild pull to complete tear. And these are the sprains, and other things are tendinitis and bursitis, where the inflammation of the tendon due to repetitive motion, and bursitis, inflammation of the bursa. We have to take rest, and a simple antibiotic with the things, repetitive movement caused by repetitive movement or direct trauma. And the bursitis is common in shoulders, elbows, and hips and knees.
So thank you.
And
In a
next,
nutshell, you
yeah,
have covered the whole range of the whole gamut of the injuries.
yes,
And now
sir.
we will move to that both sports related injuries and gym related injuries, both are common, have some common shared elements, but they differ something in mechanism, frequency, and types of injuries. Dr. Jayashree Deshpande is here to talk on the subject, and she will be telling us how gym related injuries differ from the in the other sports related injuries.
Thank you for the kind introduction, sir. And at the outset, I congratulate Dr. Hima Bindu Madam and team for taking this very important topic for discussion. While learning about this topic and discussing about this topic, I also learn a lot, and thank you for involving me in this important discussion. So coming to the gym related injuries and sport related injuries, mainly as we all know now, that gym related is because of the overuse or the repetitive movements and improper technique because of not uh, taught by a proper trainer, while sport related injuries are because of the falling awkward or environmental factors or twisting or pivoting their injuries because of the specific sports like soccer or basketball or rugby, or where there is an high impact collision also, which is there in boxing also. So these are the two different things, and we can avoid this sport related injury by taking proper care, while when the proper trainer is there, under proper guidance we do this, and these injuries which are there, like muscle strain, which is there during the overuse technique while weightlifting. While in sports injury, it is common because of the overextension of joint. Tendinitis is common with the basically because of the repetitive stress which is occurring in the Achilles tendon. And in sports, actually, it occurs in tennis. While there is, when we overextend the joint, sprains and ligaments, actually joint dislocation and fracture, which is common in sports injuries, while it is less common in gym injuries. And lower back pain actually occurs in both, like in gym as well as in sports injuries, but it's more common with the gym injuries, where nowadays, like six packs app, adolescents are there and they want to do everything in a quick fast movement, so they lift the weight more than their capacity, so that may cause injuries. Concussion injuries are rare in gym, but they are more in the boxing, or they are more in the football players. The key difference between the gym and sports injuries is the cause, where overuse or excessive load is there, while in sports injuries, it's because of the quick or high impact movements. Commonly, the muscle strain, tendinitis occurs with the gym, while ACL tears or concussion or fractures occurs in sports. While preventive focus this is a very important part, like prevention by proper technique, progressive overload, and mobility work, we can avoid gym injuries, while strength and agility training, as Anandita told us, which is and wearing protective gears, as Dr. Jayant has told us, can avoid sports injuries. Thank you, sir.
So in the summary, in a nutshell, the gym
Yeah,
injury.
in the summary, we can say the takeaway is that whether training in the gym or playing sports, injury preventions should always be our priority.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. You have
Yeah.
dealt it well. So I will
Yeah.
now go to Amog Shahane, another participant from the Maharashtra. So the Amog, what are the key risk factors for orthopedic injuries in the gym setting?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for this
You have been
opportunity.
an avid gymmer for last 15 years.
Pardon, sir. I've been since last 10 years and I've been running since last 2 years. I've just done
Yes.
my half marathon in Mumbai. And
Yes.
like how Jayashree madam said, like even though you're doing this every day, there's so many things to learn every day, and which I'm learning from you all also today. So coming to the risk factors, they are more of either gym related or fitness related, which are seen in sports. So first and foremost is the inadequate warm up and cool down, which is usually not done by the athletes in their rush to start with the training program. Because like we all know, warm up helps in improving the blood supply to the joints and the muscles, so that before warm up, if they go for high intensity exercises, there's definitely going to be chance of injury. The second thing, like how madam has highlighted, poor form and technique, because adolescents in their rush to learn different variations of exercises, they try to do exercises by watching videos of Insta influencers, which can actually cause more harm than benefits. And then because of lot of overtraining, when they might not be giving rest to their body parts, going for, ego lifting, so it can cause a lot of injuries. And sometimes they even have anatomical issues like a previous injury, or maybe sometimes they have hypermobility issues which can cause injuries. And then sports related, like how it has already been said, it's because of high speed collisions or contact injuries, and because of fatigue, inadequate nutrition, and even a poor diet. And sometimes you have some external factors like a poor technique, poor equipment in the gym, or wet floors which can cause a lot of falls. So these are the things which usually cause injuries either in the gym or in outdoor sports.
So among this, the ego lifting is one thing that is
Yes,
a matter of great concern. So
correct.
now we will come to the sports medicine specialist. So before beginning a new exercise routine, individuals should assess their risk for injury based on physical condition, medical history, movement patterns, and other personal factors. So Dr. Siddharth, can you please give step-by-step guides to evaluating your injury risk, with ensuring a safe workout start? That's very important for the sports person, young sports persons. Everybody cannot do everything.
A very good evening to everyone. First, I would like to thank everyone. I'm getting it out of the way. When you do any form of exercise as a sports medicine doctor, what we say is first see the basic technique. Any exercise you are planning to do for the first time, make sure that there is somebody with you always, so that they see whether your technique is proper or not. You should know your own body. This I tell to all athletes, normal people who are I see as patients. I say them, the best thing is always know yourself, because pain will occur only to you. Nobody else will know the pain. So you should know yourself. So if you have any previous injuries, you have got back pain, and you are planning to do a heavyweight deadlift, that is totally wrong. You know that you're going to get back pain worse, and it's going to worsen. So you should know your levels. Similarly, you have undergone any surgeries, make sure that you know what is happening. So always make sure before you do any form of exercise, get your doctor to consult and get it done whether clearance is obtained, especially when you have any pre-existing health conditions, because nowadays you see a lot of, in the gym, people falling down, in marathons, they fall off after running after some time, due to some cardiac arrest. So make sure that you get your clearance done, whatever condition you have, your blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, osteoporosis, whatever. Make sure you know how you are feeling. Say you have had a big day, you're seeing, say you're a surgeon, you're a pediatrician in this case, you're sitting continuously for 10 hours, and now you have decided to go to the gym and you're feeling very tired. Make sure that you warm up nicely, take your time and strengthen. The most important thing for young individuals, which I always tell, is that technique is very important. Make sure your trainer, never do it any exercise alone. As earlier Dr. Amoga said, unfortunately, there is a lot of Insta reels now. They say Ram Ram and they start doing a lot of exercises. You see that and you get inspired and you think that, oh, I'll do those same exercises. You're going to get injured. You're going to see either Dr. Jayant or me sometime or the other. Any medications you take, make sure you're hydrating well, food is proper. The most important thing which I would always say is make sure your sleep is proper. That is one thing which many people miss. In recovery, you have to sleep properly, then injury chances will also reduce quite a lot. What I can say in total, I'll quickly end it as a summary, is that go slow. It's a marathon. It's not a race. That is the most important thing. You are trying to build up your body. If you're a gym goer, you're trying to build up. So it's a marathon. It's not a race. And for an athlete, listen to your coach, listen to your physio or your doctor, and make sure what you have to do proper strength training or conditioning. That is very important.
So know your risk factors, be precise and specific for yourself, and have a tailor-made exercise regime for yourself. So that's all for you. Now I will go to orthopedician in the panel. So sir, Dr. Abhay, how age and fitness level affect risk in sports and orthopedic problems?
Hello, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. At the very outset, I just want to thank AHA for inviting me, and thank you for inviting me over. And also, excellent talk by Dr. Jayant. And also, thank you to Dr. Sudhir Mishra, who pulled me into this. And just to let all the panelists know, Dr. Jayant, me, and Dr. Sudhir, we all play tennis regularly and still playing, and we give good fight to each other. And Coming on to my topic of age and fitness of level affect the risk of sports-related orthopedic problems. Both age and fitness play a significant role in sports-related orthopedic problems. As the individual progress through the different life stages, their bone density, their muscle mass, their flexibility, uh, and we all know that adolescents have the laxity of the joints and the recovery to capacity the changes, impacting their injury risk. Similarly, the fitness level determines how well the body adapts to the stress with the poor conditioning, increasing the likelihood of all the orthopedic issues as we have gone through one by one. So, what is the impact of age on orthopedic problems in sports? As Dr. Jayan said, it is like a bridge. So, childhood to adulthood, and in between comes adolescence. We have the growth plate injuries, which are known as physeal injuries. It can happen due to overuse also or acute also. So, in children's, bones are still developing, making them vulnerable to growth plate fractures or injuries. Those overuse injuries can be around shoulder also and also around the knees also. So in shoulders we have little league shoulders or elbows. In knees we have osgood-Schlatter disease, and down below we have Sevier's disease, are common due to repetitive stress on the growing bones. And what are the common risk sports which are involved with this? These are gymnastics, soccer, basketball, running. And coming on to the risk of the ACL injuries and adolescents, they are at high risk of ligament tears. Especially, we get to see a lot of avulsion injuries and adolescents, especially in females, because of their genetic makeup and the anatomical changes in the knee joint with the narrow notch and the valgus at the knee. They have increased chance of ACL injuries, and also due to the weaker neuromuscular control and hormonal changes. Risk is heightened in jumping and pivoting sports, especially in basketball, volleyball, and soccer.
So thank you, and you emphasize that age is important. So while you play tennis, take care of Sudhir Mishra sir. He won't be competing as strenuously as you will be doing. So now, Sridhar, again, now we all are pediatricians. So apart from sports, we have a more important role as a preventive disease expert, prevention expert. So what is the role of nutrition and hydration in injuries and recovery?
Yes, sir. So not only in sports, sir, day-to-day life, the nutrition and hydration is more important, sir. So for this athletic performance and injury prevention and recovery depend on proper nutrition and hydration, because the macronutrients and micronutrients which will be helpful in the muscle repair and recovery, bone strength and resilience, and they will reduce the inflammation also, and they prevent the fatigue related injuries. And also the hydration is crucial for thermoregulation, joint lubrication, and also nutrient transport, and preventing the muscle cramps, fatigue, and heat related. And mainly the role of nutrition and hydration in prevention and recovery is macronutrients, fuel for recovery and injury prevention, the calories and proteins essential for the muscle repair and recovery. And the post-exercise protein intake of 20 to 40 grams aids in fast muscle recovery. We have seen that in gym trainers also they give the suggestion to have the proteins and protein powders
अरे इसमें
and
पता ही नहीं चला
a
अभी
good
जब मैंने
nutrition.
देखा इससे
And
वृंदा लिख के आ रहा
carbohydrates
तब मैं
prevent
आई
fatigue and injury. And also primary energy source is for the carbohydrates. So it maintains the glycogen stores and preventing the fatigue related injuries. And also carb loading before events, immediate, as you said, the water nutrition before the presentation, the previous one, doctor said that to have 300 to 400 ml of water before going into the sports. And these are that. So hydration and nutrition are very much important, and wearable tech and genetic testing. And there are emerging trends in the sports medicine where the real-time hydration tracking will be there, and all the things, and proper nutrition and hydration will recover a faster recovery. And the most important, proteins, carbs, fats, vitamins, minerals, and hydration work together to enhance the muscle function.
So Dr. Jasri, are there any specific nutrients that help in strength or strengthening the joints and
Yes, there are. And I will say like जब जीतने की रेस में जब हम अपने शरीर को दौड़ने लायक बनाएंगे तो ही हम लोग जीतेंगे. So we are all what we eat. this omega-3 fatty acids, which is found in fish oil, flaxseeds, walnuts, have an anti-inflammatory property, which is very much required for the recovery of our muscles. And it helps in reducing the joint pain and tendinitis also. And also it has a psychological effect. It gives you a mental resilience. After the post-exercise anxiety and stress is reduced because of this omega-3 fatty acids. As we all know, vitamin D and calcium are important for bone health. And we recommend to take 1000 to 2000 international units of vitamin D daily. Also, magnesium, iron, sodium are all required. And basically, magnesium prevents the muscle cramps and spasm. So it has to be supplemented, especially for those who are working hard. Iron as such is required for oxygen transport and our recovery of the injury. The blood supply has to be increased and we have to receive more oxygen and nutrients to the injured muscle. Antioxidants like vitamin C and E are also very important. It's not only, vitamin C is not only to increase our resistance power, but it has an effect on collagen synthesis and it's crucial for the ligament and the tendon repair. So antioxidant actually reduce the exercise-induced inflammation, but beware that we should not overtake them because it may blunt the natural training adaptation from our body. So let it be in a natural form. As I always say, not only supplementation is required, but absorption of these nutrients is important. And for that, moderation is the key.
So thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
It's very important that you have highlighted the things, micronutrients, antioxidants, vitamin D, magnesium, iron. These are the important aspects. As we know that Sridhar told, every athlete who is trying to do the gym is taking whey protein, that macronutrients they are taking. But the micronutrients, they are not taking that much. So it's very important that your message should go to all pediatricians and later on to all the adolescents. So now coming to Dr. Amog. So nutrition part, we have taken care of the macro and micro. But hydration, as it was started by Dr. Jayant also, Dr. Nalam also touched it, but I will ask details about it. Can dehydration increase risk of orthopedic injuries?
Yes, sir, definitely, because water is something which everybody needs to consume in appropriate amounts, which is always, people are not aware of the advantages of having enough adequate water, especially when they're training. So, like how we can see, hydration is a cornerstone of performance and recovery, because hydration, basically, which has water, helps in keeping the muscles very pliant. It helps in decreasing their tension helps in decreasing their tension. So, because of it, there's chance of injuries. And it also helps in decreasing the reaction time, because in case of dehydration the reaction time increases, causing more injuries because of falls and difficult coordination. Sometimes water which has got good amount of electrolytes can cause imbalances, or there can be loss of sodium and potassium, which is very important in the hydration part. And like we all know, joint injuries can occur because of dehydration, because there's cartilage degradation, and multiple joint injuries are also seen. And with depletion of water resources, there can be heat cramps, there can be heat stroke, there can be exhaustion also. So water is a very important part of nutrition along with the other micro and macronutrients.
So it's so important, as Dr. Jayant has told, we will repeat it pre-exercise 5 to 10 ml per kg body weight for 2 to 3 hours before. During exercise, 150 to 250 ml every 15 to 20 minutes, and post-exercise, rehydrate with fluid plus electrolytes. And in advanced strategies, wearable hydration sensors for a real-time tracking is an important invention for nowadays. So going back, now we will go to the sports medicine expert, Siddharth, sir. So body weight plays a critical role in joint health, particularly us who are on the verge of obesity. Everybody wants to tell us कि अपना weight घटा लो वरना जो घुटने जवाब दे जाएंगे. So to the overall performance of the fitness enthusiast, wherever the underweight, overweight, and ideal weight, each category comes with its own sets of risks and challenges related to joint stress, stability, and injury prevention. How does body weight impact the risk of joint injuries in the fitness enthusiasts?
Yeah, so definitely an excess body weight will always affect joints as well as our muscle loading mechanics will change. One of the most important thing which I always say when we take athletes specifically, we always go with fat percentage, not with body weight. We are more interested in fat percentage because we can't call a wrestler who's 120 kilos of pure muscle as overweight. So we look at fat percentage, and that is one of the reasons when we try to lose weight, we actually lose fat. So initially you will lose weight, and then suddenly there's a saturation where either we gain weight a little bit. That's because we are losing fat and gaining muscle, and along with water retention occurs. So we are actually gaining a little bit weight, and we think that I'm exercising so much, but still I'm gaining weight a little bit. That's actually the opposite which occurs. So that's one thing which I wanted to tell about. Definitely with excess body weight, what happens is that there is an extra pound of force. So one of the in the slide it's written that 1 pound of excess weight, definitely 4 extra pounds of force on the knee joint. So there is more chances of osteoarthritis, meniscus tears, plantar fasciitis, lower back herniated disc. You will get a load of injuries, and there is always a higher risk of acute injuries because the shear strain, the angle of power of force which you move will be, and sudden change of directions will cause ankle sprains, ACL tears, and even joint dislocations. Now, coming to the opposite factor of low body weight, in Kerala, we get a lot of anorexia. Now there's a trend among teenagers to lose weight, and I've seen myself 2 cases of anorexia where I had to work with a psychiatrist to, make them better, and athletes especially. So we have to, what happens is that I got them as a back pain actually. And then when we went in detail, all these injuries, they are more higher risk of bone fractures, stress injuries. Their nutrition there's something called REDS, which is relative energy deficiency syndrome, which is quite common, which is seen in both males and female athletes. We see also low energy, so faster fatigue, overtraining syndrome occurs, higher chances of tendon inflammation. So in basic, if we divide both excess body weight and lower body weight, running, jumping, you get more high impact will be there. While over there is less shock absorption, but more injury chances like stress fracture, shin splints. Weightlifters, definitely the stability is poor in low weight, higher injuries. You get muscle strains more in body weight, excess body weights. More knee pain, more stress on the knees, wrists, especially when you do yoga or this thing. One of the best exercises definitely is swimming. We always advise, even if you're low weight or excess body weight, we ask them to start swimming because that is the most, because of the buoyancy. So definitely a body weight plays a big role. And what we target is more of fat percentage a little bit, and then we go into body weight.
So thank you for highlighting this. And now we'll come to the Dr. Abhay. So joint health supplements like glucosamine, chondroitin, collagen, and other compounds, they are in the market. There is a lot of buzz about them. Do supplements like glucosamine and collagen help prevent joint problems?
Yeah, these products are readily available in the market and create a lot of confusion with this products will readily available over the counter. So, do these products are really helpful? And how glucosamine and chondroitin, do they really work? So, what are glucosamine and chondroitin? Glucosamines are natural compound found in cartilage, believed to help repair damaged joints and reduce inflammation. On the other hand, chondroitin, a component of cartilage that helps retain water and elasticity, supporting the shock absorption in the joints. Often combined in joint supplements and are used for osteoarthritis management. Collagen supplement, do they support joint health? What is collagen? Collagen is mainly the structural protein cartilage seen in cartilage, tendons, and ligaments, found in bone, broth, gelatin, and hydrolyzed collagen supplements. It actually declines with age, leading to joint stiffness, reduces elasticity, and increase the chances of injuries. And another supplements for joint health is omega-3 fatty acids, which is known as fish oil. It acts as a reduction in inflammation in joints, may improve the mobility, especially and reduce this stiffness of the muscles. Not directly a cartilage protective, but helps with the joint relief. Turmeric or curcumin, as we commonly known as, it has anti-inflammatory properties, and it's also effective in reducing joint pain and stiffness. It works best when it is combined with black pepper or turpentine for absorption. And another compound which is available is MSM, which is the natural compound with anti-inflammatory properties. Some evidence suggests this improve pain relief and joint function in osteoarthritis. And another one is the hyaluronic acid, which is found in joint fluid and improves lubrication and shock absorption. helps in mild osteoarthritis, but is more effective in injection form than in oral supplements.
Thank you. So there is some role for these natural substances as well as something which is available in the market. So now let's go to Dr. Sridhar again. Sridhar, knee injuries in sports person. We will be brief in this. Now we have less time, so we will be
Yeah.
briefly discussing.
Sure, sir. As earlier said, 30 to 40% are mainly involving knee joints, and mainly these weight-bearing joints are very much involved always in the collision while running, playing soccer, football, basketball. The risk of knee injury is very high, and common injuries are fractures, dislocations, ACL, and PC, posterior cruciate ligament injuries, and meniscus tear and knee tendon tears. These are the very much common injuries in the knee joint.
So coming to after knee, we will go to the shoulder. Shoulder joints is one of the most mobile but least stable joints in the body, making it highly susceptible to injuries in weightlifting. Many weightlifters suffer from overuse injury and muscle imbalance and excessive stress on the shoulder joint. So what are the leading causes of shoulder injuries in the weightlifters?
As you rightly said, sir, weightlifters shoulder is a terminology nowadays, and it's very common. And shoulder is like a wonder joint. It has all 360-degree motions, like range of motion is maximum with the shoulder joint, and it is one of the joint which gives us a proper posture. So the injuries because of the overuse of the weight, as you rightly said, or the poor shoulder mobility, muscle imbalance, or a wrong way of doing exercises, or lifting too heavy weight too soon, or any no warm-up or lack of warm-up or improper dynamic warm-up which is there in a newly joined adolescent in gym is the main cause of shoulder injury. And it's like we can prevent this injury because the overuse or muscle imbalance can be taken care by a proper trainer, as everybody said prior to this session. Use proper form of bench press is very important, because if our elbow goes behind the shoulder joint, it may cause injury to the shoulder joint. And proper warm up before lifting allow adequate recovery between the sessions is also one of the key element in preventing this shoulder injury.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a very important aspect as you have touched upon. And now coming to the another aspect, now running. That we have seen weightlifting. Now coming to running. How does running affect the hip and knee joints? Dr. Amol.
Yeah, running, sir. Basically, in running, we are using more than 2 to 3 times the body weight is coming on the joints, especially the hips and the knees. So we see more of in this repetitive stress injuries or overuse injuries are seen. And since adolescent is a period where the bone mineralization is still happening, so they can have chances of stress fractures, which is very commonly seen. Then they have lower limb injuries like shin splints, which is basically involvement of the tubal tuberosity seen in runners in which the intensity is increased very rapidly. And then sometimes you get even hamstring stings or pulls, which is because of the groin involvement. Then there can be tendonitis, there can be bursitis. There's something called as runner's knee, which is basically because of patellofemoral syndrome. And the other thing I would like to say in this, along with in running, what is most important is the running form, because many of the athletes who do this running don't know the proper form, like how in the gym you have a proper form and technique. You need to have a proper forward bend, which should be at the ankles, not at the hips and the knees. The core should be tight. The hand should be swinging by the side. So all these things matter a lot in preventing injuries when you're going for runs.
So we heard about the weightlifter shoulder, we heard about the runner's knee. So that gives some excuse to us, people like us who don't want to work hard. So now coming to the sports Dr. Siddharth Nathan. So how common are the back injury among that weightlifters, and what are the main causes?
Back injuries are one of the most common injuries which I see. I see in a daily basis at least around 5 to 10 cases of back pain due to just lifting weights. There are many causes. the most common what you see especially is due to heavy load. They take very bagged heavy weights. The most common back injuries which you see is definitely muscle strains, herniated discs, sciaticas, especially facet joint is quite common, which I see because they do a lot of rotation based exercises with weights. When they do landmine curls or such exercises, they injure quite a lot. Why it occurs? Poor technique, that is the most common. Lifting to weight, ego lifting, yes, definitely. If my peer is taking this much weight, I should also take. Weak core, poor stability, their muscle is not wrong. They have lack of mobility, especially most weight lifters, and overtraining with insufficient recovery. Now, the most common risky exercises, if your technique is bad, is deadlifts. I've seen a number of back sprains due to deadlifts. Squats, proper technique is not done. Bent over rows. Good mornings. I don't know if many people know how to do good mornings, but good mornings for the back, quite a lot of injuries occur. Leg press, definitely, because we tend to overload quite a lot, and that causes a lot of herniated disc and back pains. And these are the most risky injuries, which usually is seen in all weightlifters.
Thank you. Now coming to Abhay. Dr. Abhay, exercise is most likely, which exercise is most likely to cause tendonitis and stress fractures?
Yeah, these injuries are basically overused and develop over a period of time. So there are n number of exercises which can lead to such kind of injuries, from running, jumping, deadlifts, bench press, so pull-ups, I mean, you can name them, and can, if you do it continuously over the period of time, there are certain types of injuries which can follow these patterns. And you need to be wary of that, and you need to be specifically focused with what kind of individual is doing what kind of exercises, what sports he is into, so that you can basically point out and demarcate your diagnosis to particular uh, uh, area.
So how
So
to
coming
prevent it?
on to how to prevent these kind of tendonitis and stress fractures is basically to have a gradual progression, follow the 10% rule, increase the weight or reps or mileage, but not more than 10% per week to prevent overload. Prioritize recovery and rest. That is very important. Tendons and bones need more time to heal than muscles. That is very true. And schedule rest days and deload weeks to allow proper recovery. You can't run every day half marathon. You need to kind of give your body some rest. Strengthen your supporting muscles. So weak muscles, what will happen that if you have a weak muscle, there will be more stress on the tendon and bones, which can be injured and lead to chronic injuries. Train your glutes, core, and stabilizing muscles to reduce the joint stress. Improve your mobility and flexibility. That is a must to prevent injuries. Stretch and foam roll to reduce the tendon tightness is also a good thing to do before your for to prevent your this thing injuries. And focus ankle, hip, and shoulder mobility definitely apart from course. Optimize nutrition for bone, tendon health, and increase your diet, collagen, protein, calcium, and vitamin D for tendon and bone strength. That is also a very good thing to do.
So thank you. In this round, we discussed all the important injuries which are we come across less often. Only that sports or orthopedic people can come across. Now we will go to this round where we will discuss about the common things which come to our clinics. So Dr. Sridhar, so
Yes.
growing pains, I would like to know how does it present in your clinic?
Sir, growing pains are commonly seen by the pediatricians in the day-to-day practice, sir. And the mother will be complaining of by night, the child will be having pain in the bilateral calf muscles and everything. And they will be with massage, simple massage, they will be all right by next day morning. These are growing pains, sir. Only I feel the reassurance is should be they given a good nutrition and good hydration. And if not, we can give a good supplementation of multivitamin or calcium supplementation should be given. And simple analgesic if really pain persists. Simple analgesic, paracetamol is sufficient. But some red flag signs are there, sir. If the fever is there, or weight loss is there, limping is there, and any bony tenderness or swelling is there, and elevated inflammatory markers in the investigations, definitely we have to take care of the things and we have to evaluate the case. So most of the things, reassurance is sufficient, sir, and simple stretching exercises, and usually these things are resolved by the adolescents. Once that about, it's common in 7 to 8 years of age in school going children, and also it's common less than 13 years. I feel it resolves by adolescents, sir.
So you talked about stretching. So benefits of stretching and how to maximize its benefits. I will call upon Dr. Deshpande. So
Sir, we have a natural practice of giving massage to an infant, and at that time of massage, usually the ayah or the mother or mother-in-law do stretching of the newborn joints, and that's a very good way to start the stretching exercises. Stretching actually improves the flexibility and range of motions. It increases the muscle elasticity in allowing for greater movement of efficiency. It enhances the joint mobility and improves the athletic performance. Best for dancers, gymnasts, runners. But I will say the stretching by yoga before the pre-stretching, pre-workout stretching and post-workout stretching is very important. And pre-workout stretching can be a dynamic stretching, or the post-workout session stretching can be active as well as passive stretching. It prepares our muscle and tendons for the movement, and it improves the muscle balance, and which will reduce the injuries afterwards. And it's best for weight lifters, runners, athletes. And also it decreases the muscle stiffness. And aqua stretching, like in after swimming or stretching in water, is a new way to reduce the muscle knots, and it's best for recovery for everybody. Intense lifting or high intensity interval training, it's good for everybody. Correct muscle imbalance and tights the hip flexor with the help of this stretching. It should be minimum 15 to 30 seconds, and as the age advances it should be more. It can be taken for 1 minute stretching for each and every muscles, and it reduces the lower back pain, the shoulder tension, what we have seen, the injuries will be reduced. And best for office workers or best for the doctors who are having a sedentary job. It promotes relaxation, and even after doing this stretching, if you do some breathing exercises, it is the best way to reduce the mental tension and increases the blood circulation. It reduces the cortisol level. It reduces the
so
stress
important
hormone.
is stretching.
Yeah, it's
We
good for
cannot,
everybody.
we cannot stretch it more further. So we
Yeah.
will go to Dr. Amog. So Dr. Amog, so what is the role of posture and weight related issues in adolescent injuries?
Yes, adolescents, since now we're all in the digital world, most of us are on some of the other gadgets. So we have all tabs and phones. So the most important thing which we all face, including adolescents, is a tech neck, because all the time we're hunched up on our gadgets. And the other thing which is really very sad is even the young teens are having huge backpacks with more than 10 to 15% of their body weight, which can cause very bad spinal issues. And in obese individuals, they usually have a lot of issues with the because of more of muscle activation because of weight issues, which is there is no proper alignment of the body weight. So they can have hunched, a lot of slouching, hunched back shoulders. They can have exaggerated lumbar lordosis or thoracic kyphosis, and causing many other spinal injuries, spinal problems and lower back issues. And even they have lower limb issues like valgus deformity, flat feet. This is usually seen more in obese children. And sometimes they also have commonly associated subcapital femoral epiphysis because of anterior pelvic tilt. So basically, it's a long list of issues which are seen both in normal as well as obese adolescents.
So the heavy backpacks, I will ask about this question. So how does it affect?
Like how I just said, sir, because of the extra weight that they use it usually on the single side. Then there's no distribution of the weight, because of which they have a lot of back pain. So ideally, they should use the strap on both the sides and not hanging very low. The strap should be on the higher.
I will ask my orthopedic friend, what should be the weight of the bag if they compare
Chandramohan,
to
time.
it will be another 3 to 4 minutes, ma'am. It's only so. Good. Dr. Siddharth, so why is vitamin D important for adolescents?
Vitamin D is one of the most essential vitamin for, especially for bone growth and development. It is used, it strengthens the bones, the teeth, and if there is deficiency, there's always risk factors for fractures, for muscle injuries, and especially early osteoporosis. Usually it helps prevents a lot of injuries. IAP recommends around 400 to 600 international units per day by diet as well as through sunlight, and definitely it prevents a lot of injury. And in deficiencies, I find a lot of young adolescent athletes deficient because even though they are in sunlight, they lack because they exercise quite a lot. So vitamin D is used up. So there is a lot of deficiencies. So I'll recommend for adolescent athletes, please do check their vitamin D, especially, and that can cause a lot of injuries.
So we talked about weightlifting. So I would
sorry to interrupt. Just you were asking one good question about what should be the bag weight of the child.
Yeah.
That's an important one.
Yes. So any takers?
Yeah, that's the important question.
Of the body weight.
Welcome, Dr. Navniyal. Important question. Good.
Thank you.
If you want, I can answer.
Please,
so usually what we tell that it should not be more than 10% of the total body weight of the child.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the easiest way you can calculate, because each child is different.
So with the last question, we have come to this end of the session.
Yeah, the youth is waiting.
We talked a lot about the weight exercises. Now, the last word I will give to the orthopedic friend. Can children and adolescents engage in weight training safely?
Yes, there is a lot of myth associated with it, and now with the present literature, what we have known that the weight training is safe for children and adolescents when done incorrectly under proper supervision. It does not stunt the growth, in fact. So, what was the myth behind it earlier? Many believe that weightlifting causes a premature closure of growth plates, stunting height. The fact is that research shows no negative impact on height. Instead, it enhances the bone density and growth plate strength. Studies done in American Academy of Pediatrics and NSCA, they have confirmed that supervised resistance training is safe for children and teens. So growth plates are at risk only with heavy unsupervised lifting and poor technique, not with proper weight training. So what are the benefits? They improves the bone density, reduces fracture risk, prevents sports injury, enhances athletic performance, boosts metabolism, and supports healthy weight, builds confidence and mental strength.
So thank you all my panelists to being with us, and I really enjoyed reading about these things and making this PPT, and I believe all the benefit those who have attended must have been benefited with it. So with this we come to the end of the session. So that's all for
Thank you. Dr. Shamik, over to you to please call the youth who's waiting, and Dr. Meghna is there, Meghna Sultania.
So Dr. Meghna, I think so. Let's call in the youth because they've been waiting for very long.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
We can take the questions after that.
Yes. So now I would like to introduce our next youth, who is also a second-year MBBS student. So would be a future doctor, Mr. Chandratan Garu. Mr. Chandratan, are you there? Mr. Chandratan?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yeah, hi.
Can you
So, Mr. Chandratan, switch on your video.
Chand.
Ma'am.
Is there Chand? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Welcome. I would just want to introduce you that he's been a state level boxer. He's also pursuing MBBS, and his father is an army. So he has a well fitness background, and he himself into fitness for last 8 to 9 years. Apart from this, I wanted to ask you this particular question, that what is your dream? How are you looking at balancing your career choice and your fitness choice? Any thought process?
So, ma'am, first of all, it's a very great session that I've heard with you people, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And since you have asked that, it's been a very difficult part for me to balance these things, like balance my exercise, balancing my studies, and doing other things also in the college. Like, it's been a very hard
How do
time
you
for me.
feel about it? Are you taking any stress about it? Do you have some questions? Because as one of the stalwarts have pointed out, psychosocial impact is also there. The psychological impact I'm talking about. So can you
Yes,
brief
ma'am.
something about it?
No, ma'am. It doesn't seem like like we are taking as stress. No, ma'am. It gives us it's a kick of dopamine. Like it gives a calmness, a sort of like a sort of pureness in our mind that what we should do and what we should follow. Like whatever we want to do, we'll do and we'll pursue in a great way.
Great, great, nice. I would like to draw an attention that Mr. Chandratan had a few questions and they were so relevant that I would like any one of the panelists to go for it. The first question was use of creatine, the myths and uses. On this, even when I searched, I got to know it's an amino acid preparation. And although it is banned under the age of 18, a lot of youths, they use it. There is one gym called Equilibrium, very good gym in Asian Hospital where footballers came and they are also training. When I went there just to find out after his question, what I got to know that a lot of children under the age of 18 are using it. So any thoughts about creatine as a powder, as an add-on to be taken for the muscle functioning?
So does Chand take these powders?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm confused about this because there are many people around me that were taking their even our like in our cricket team also they are taking it. Like MS Dhoni, Rohit Sharma. But I'm confused because they're very good athletes in their own work in their own field. I don't know what should, like whether I should take or not. That's why
Yeah,
I asked
experts,
for this question.
request experts to please.
Let's the sports medicine people, please.
Yeah, the sport, Dr.
It-
Siddharth.
so it depends upon what usually I ask what level do you play. If you are an elite level athlete, definitely I would advise you to take creatine because creatine helps in performance. It should be taken pre-workout, not post-workout. It should be taken pre-workout
Yes.
because it helps in increasing the performance. It is a myth that it causes kidney issues unless you have kidney
Yes,
problems.
sir. Yes, sir.
It is just made from milk waste actually. So it is an amino acid. It does not cause any major problem. Your creatine level will rise up a little bit, but otherwise it's quite safe. For athletes, definitely we advise creatine and it helps in performance. It increases, there are numerous studies out there to show that it increases performance. So that is for elite level athletes. For a regular gym person, not required at all. For the American Academy of Pediatrics, as well as the American Association of Sports Medicine and Indian Society of Sports Medicine, we have told that under 18, we don't advise creatine. It is not banned. It is not banned as such. But we don't advise under 18 for creatine to be taken. But above 18, definitely once you reach the senior level, you are taking into sports, you are getting into professional level athlete, you are taking, you can take creatine. It does not harm anything. We advise creatine definitely. So it's safe. You don't have to worry about
Dr.
it.
Siddharth, but then is there any time frame how long they can take it? Because what happens is once they start taking it, they can continue because they're going to keep playing for a long time, maybe 5 years, 7 years. So how long can they keep taking creatine?
Yeah. So that's what it depends upon what type of
What are the
professional you
goals?
are. If you're an elite level, you are someone like Rohit Sharma, you will be taking it till the day you retire, unfortunately. But see, we what we do is that there's something called periodization. I think Chandratan will know a little bit about that. So when you do your periodization,
Yes, sir.
there's something called
Yes, sir.
cycles.
Cycles.
So there's something called cycles. So where you decide which is your off season, on season, which is your competition season. Off season, you don't need creatine. You're not performing over there. You're just building muscles. You're taking rest. You're recovering properly. So in that period, you don't need your creatine. It is during which competition period where you want to increase your gains. At that time, you give your creatine and your performance to increase the muscle load, to increase your performance level. So it is not necessary that you take it throughout the year. It is based on the cycle period. So that's how we go in professional sports.
And hydration is also very important with that. Hydration.
Definitely.
For the clearance, which usually kids don't understand. Hydration
Yes.
is the most important thing.
But a question
We tell them to drink a lot.
But what is the dose? What is the dose?
It's there is no dosage as such. It's like usually one scoop. We tell one scoop mixed with milk or with
Around
water.
5 grams.
Now there are
Comes around
different
5
flavors
grams, I
also.
guess.
So five, yeah, comes around 5 grams.
5
You can
grams in
say
one
it's
scoop,
usually
yeah.
one scoop, which you say they give it one scoop will come.
सर ये
Dr.
ड्रग में तो नहीं
Siddharth,
आता,
I would like.
ड्रग में तो नहीं आता, डोपिंग में कोई जैसे
नहीं,
नहीं है,
No, 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 no,
क्योंकि
no,
क्रिएटिन
no.
अगर
Dr.
बढ़ रहा है आपका तो वो कह सकते हैं कि आपने ना इसको यूज किया है, that's all.
नहीं, you can take creatine, you can take any form of supplements, omega-3, anything during competition. You can even take, see, the thing is that doping is that you can take any drug off competition. On competition, there are certain restrictions. Even off competition, once you become elite level, you have to mention why you have taken that drug. That is the only reason. So if you are
सर
an asthmatic, you're taking
परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा करने के लिए यूज कर रहे हैं.
वो तो that is wrong. Then you will get caught. That is.
Sir, I would like to ask another few questions regarding the same. First of all, under 18, if this is banned, this is ATP, this generates basically ATP. So they are giving instant energy, right?
Yes.
So what are the options that under 18 can take? I would really want you to highlight that since it's a national webinar and we have to highlight under 18, it is not allowed. So what else they can take? That will be a good idea.
Right.
Okay, this is also one other thing. It is not like it is not allowed. It is advised. You understood? There is a difference between banned and advised. It is just that advised. We don't have enough long-term studies. That's all. That is the reason why we are
I
not
saw
yet.
one paper by AHA, American Academy of Pediatrics. It also mentions, but since sir, I saw the usage in the gym only, then I thought that yes. And if we say creatine, no for creatine, they will go for steroids. So I would really want you to highlight what else, can enhance their performance. And one of the doctors who does a regular gym also told me that at an advanced age, the performance enhancers are required. At the age like less than 18, naturally you have a stamina and a good metabolism. So a natural product would do the same thing. So can you give some examples for the same, sir?
Coffee, one of the most common things which we advise is coffee. Earlier coffee was banned as a doping agent, but now it is not considered. So you can give coffee. That stimulates actually, not a very high dose, but a small dose of coffee. Usually we tell you can take black coffee, a small dose, especially for athletes. That helps in performance pushing a little bit. We give small dosage of chocolates. That is another thing, just before, some small, that gives a little bit of energy boost, definitely. Otherwise, performance which will give equal to creatine is not there, honestly speaking, which gets converted to ATP as such. But these are the things which will definitely give. Even if you take steroids also, you don't get that sudden shoot of energy. People have this idea that I take steroid and I'm going to become He-Man and I can run. Unfortunately, it doesn't work as such like that. You get an energy boost a little bit after some time. So nowadays, there is a lot of experienced people who know what are the calculations, HGH with, there are a lot of doping combinations now. So they take a lot of combo exercises like
Chand
that.
has some more
So,
questions, Dr. Meghna?
Then there are two things I just want to ask.
No,
Whether
Jaspreet
we,
ji,
yeah,
we'll
is
just
it,
finish up with the youth because he's been waiting.
yeah,
So then we'll
the
come
same
back to
question.
Yeah,
only.
I thought as much. Let
Yeah.
us
Is the
ask some
brand
questions
change
to Chandratan.
amino acid useful in athletics or not?
Ma'am, this was Chand's questions only.
Yeah, let him ask.
Chand
Na?
wanted to know.
Dr. Chand, you can ask those questions, what you have wanted to ask.
And most importantly, I want to ask about the creatine only because there are many myths around this. Like we see in Insta, like many influencers like show that take creatine. There are many brands who promote them like take creatine, take creatine. That's why there's a myth regarding this. So I wanted to ask about this only. And my other question is that how lifestyle plays
Chand, you
an
had also
important role
questioned
in
about
this.
stretching and cooling down
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
to prevent muscle injury.
Yes, ma'am. It's like how stretching and cool down prevent muscle damage and injury, or like it enhances better muscle recovery. How it works? That was my question, ma'am.
Dr. Siddharth, can you please answer? There's a concern of the youth.
How does it work means basically any form of exercise. You want the physiology answer, or since you've completed second year, we can ask in that angle also. So there are two ways. So what happens is that when you exercise, there is going to be cumulative accumulation of tightness which occurs. So that is one of the reasons why we tell to do post exercise static stretches. And it should be for around 15 to 20 seconds. Now, for elites, we have to be a little bit smart. We don't want too flexible also. For elite level athletes, for a normal level, a person who just exercises, I would say definitely do 30 seconds of stretches. But for an elite level of athlete, I would say only 15 seconds of stretches. It depends upon what, and usually an athlete will know which body part is tight. So they will stretch a little bit extra on that area. So for example, your hamstring is more tight, you feel, because you did some body bag works, foot movement work. So you will be doing a little bit of more of hamstring stretches. You will stretch a little bit longer. So what it helps is that it helps in flexibility and mobility, which helps in increasing your movement and your range of movement. Now, for pre-exercise, means that is before your activity, we always advise dynamic type of stretches. Always. We don't advise static stretches at that time. We advise always dynamic type of stretches. Your coaches will also be telling you that because we try to we try to mimic the movement of what the activity we are doing. So a lot of neuromuscular training is ongoing over there. Dr. Jayant is very well, he has explained in that angle. He has told that you do repeat the exercises of what you're going to do, what sport activity you're going to do. So that is the key in which, so best example which I tell is that if you've seen, now IPL is going to start, if you've seen Dhoni, before he goes, hits the sixes, he goes to the play, he will take 3 bats and he'll keep swinging before he goes into the match. That's basically a neuromuscular training which he's doing to hit the helicopter shot. You understood? So that's why he's so able to go into the match and immediately hit a 6. Because his body is now tuned, the brain-body connection is now tuned into getting into this thing. Similarly, for stretching is basically to increase your flexibility and mobility, because mobility plays a key role to prevent injuries also. So in those two angles, it helps actually in performance as well as in prevention of injuries.
It takes away the lactic acid which is there. And again, increased blood supply and oxygenation helps for the recovery of the muscle.
Right.
Yes, definitely,
Chan, go ahead. Because we have now actually we're overshooted time. Chan, you can finish your questions first, please.
Okay. Ma'am, next question is like, how can we increase our mind-muscle connection? Because it's very important to increase the mind-muscle connection so that we can grow that muscle, that muscle, that we can focus on that only. Because it's also help in increasing concentration ability. Like, how can we maintain a focused environment in ourselves only while performing exercises?
The first thing you need to do is you should know what exercise you're doing, for which muscle you're doing it for. Then you need to understand the proper form and technique, the range of motion. And during the exercise, you need to go properly what is the concentric, what is the eccentric part of the exercise. So that thing will help you to understand the mind and the muscle connection, because that will help in causing hypertrophy, or if you want to go for bodybuilding or strengthening. So that is the basic. Starts with the basics always. Look at the form, technique, do a good warm up, know which muscle which muscle you're doing for which exercise, so that you can develop that connection. That is what the basics are actually.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So are we done, Chan? You're finished anything else you want to interact with the experts here on board?
Like, ma'am, how lifestyles and way of living impact in our overall fitness?
Lifestyle?
Like it's been, yes, ma'am. How lifestyle like plays an important role in our overall fitness, because we see like it's our generation, it's Gen Z. Like we have more on phones than books. That's why I'm asking this.
There is a biological clock inside our body, and that is set right from our childhood. And that biological clock, which is there in our childhood, where 3 important things matter is like food we eat from our childhood, and the sleep, which is very important part of recovery of muscle, and the exercise or the activity in full day, not only for 1 hour. These 3 things matters actually.
Yeah, beta.
One more thing I would like to add, Chand, is like when you're a sports person or whatever fitness you take, it teaches you discipline, it teaches you dedication, it teaches you something called as delayed gratification. So these are the building blocks, something like a life skill which you learn during your early formative years, and these are habit forming. So even in the future, if you want to take decisions, when you're a sports person, you never give up. So that is what sportsmanship is all about. And one more thing I would like to say about supplements is, everybody wants to, like how somebody said, everybody wants to get six packs overnight and develop, become like Tom Cruise. But you need to understand that this is called building. The journey is more important than the destination.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
focus on your goals, go for the basics, and as far as possible, do the research before you go for all types of exercises and getting influenced by influencers.
For sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Great, great. Yeah. So I think if you're done, Chand, then we'll see the
Yes, ma'am.
questions in the chat box.
Ma'am, can
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just have one
Hey,
point?
Chand.
Can I ask a question to Chand?
Yeah, Sushma ji, please go ahead. Say, Dr. Chand, she's our next president, Dr. Sushma Desai, and she's so excited to see you. Yeah, please go ahead, Sushma ji.
Yeah, truly excited to see you, Chan. And
Yes, ma'am.
especially you're an aspiring doctor. So I'm really very happy to see you over here. My question to you is, when did you start your training as a sports person? And what is your message to the kids and the youth who want to start that, or you want to, get trained for the sports? So these two questions.
So actually, ma'am, I started at the age of 15 only because I suffered from like a memory disorder at that time, like a slight disorder at that time. I don't know about the proper thing. My father is like he's treating at that time, like he's taking care of me. Like I started at 15, and ma'am, it's been a very long journey for me. Like there are so many challenges that I faced for me, like focusing. That's why I put on my question on this. How can I focus on this? Like my lifestyle. How like whom should I follow? मैं किसका भरोसा करूं इस तरह से तो like it's been a very tough for me and my message to youth like not being on phone just walk on the field and do whatever you want to do.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jan. Yeah.
It's
You are an
I think that's
inspiration to
great.
all of
Let's
them.
all give a big round of applause to him.
Yeah, true. You deserve a lot of
Chand,
applause.
that is
There has been a round of applause for
neuroplasticity.
Chand. Yes.
Yeah, Chan, what you're talking about is neuroplasticity, that thing of exercise which you're doing, na? It's basically
Yes, ma'am.
creating those beautiful synapses. And that is
Yes,
why
ma'am.
you're able to overcome that memory issue, because it has been proven that with continuous exercise, especially with strength training, neuroplasticity can go on even up to the age of 60 years.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. And that's why
So
my father
great.
put me into boxing. Like
Yes.
he knows that.
Good. So
Ma'am, can I
Chand,
just make
your
one
message.
point,
Yes,
Dr.
Shamik, yes.
Himabindu? Yeah.
Then we can stop
I
it. Shamik, we are going
yes.
on. Yes.
Yeah. So, Chand, I just wanted to share with you as well as the other panelists, Dr. Shamik Koshia, sleep, especially deep sleep, it really, causes an ATP surge. So whenever our deep sleep is affected, and we've all been talking about sleep hygiene, we've also been talking about ATP supplements, but a very natural way to cause an ATP surge in the human body is to have a good and adequate sleep. Because specifically the deep sleep, it does cause, it's physiologically known to cause an ATP surge, which replenishes our stores.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So, how important, my one question from my to the Chand is how important the sports and activities are for the youth nowadays.
Ma'am, it's very important. Like being engaged in a physical activity, it's give you the activeness that you want, that you need in your daily life. It's not
Now,
just doing
how
gym.
do you motivate others? Can you have, like we are going through a wellness and fitness week,
Yes,
and this
ma'am.
AHA Adolescent Health Academy is celebrating the Wave 18. And this month, incidentally, is the prevention of NCDs, non-communicable diseases. And we are talking about fitness. And this was the right webinar to talk about how we need to enter into sports and encourage our youth. So what do you think will how the youth can be encouraged and how we can motivate your friends?
Ma'am, in my opinion, what my father has told me that just don't sit, do work, do yourself, and make people proud around you. Like just showcase them who you are. That's it, ma'am.
Papa बोला है, that was your
Yes,
papa.
ma'am.
Now, how
Yes,
will you
ma'am.
influence your friends?
Like, ma'am, I'm just influenced by, like, I influence my father only, ma'am. Like, he's an army,
Now you have to
and
influence your friends. That's what I'm saying. Please influence your friends. Okay. Right.
yes,
So
ma'am.
thank you. I think Meghna, over to you, and anything else from the chat box. Dr. Shamik, you can have a look at it, and we can
Ma'am, there
close
is
it.
nothing more in the chat box. I think so.
Okay.
Most of the
Dr.
points have been
Meghna?
discussed.
Yeah,
Meghna,
can I ask a question to the panelist or the sports person?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are many, you know, the children, they want to go to the gym.
Yes.
What is the right age to start gymming? Because that's the question we face every day in our adolescent clinic.
Yes. Siddharth, I think you can.
It depends upon what you're looking at. If you're looking at basically you want the person to be active, and so usually what I tell is that if they are young age, up to 12 to 14, what I say is that as a parent you should go with the child. You exercise with the child. That's the best thing. So the child will always mimic the parents. That is the best thing. So always I tell, if you are a parent, you have to go to the gym with him or her. Once they cross 14, and usually by 12 to 15, what happens is that they get into sports. They have to play multiple sports and everything. So a lot of body weight exercises, training exercises. So it should be supervised. Whenever if they go to the gym, the exercises need to be supervised. There is no restriction for them to go to the gym. That is the honest truth. I've seen kids go from 6, because I deal with sports. So I've seen 6-year-old kids who go to the gym. But usually what we do is that we tell them that from 6 years old, if you're going, make sure that it is fun for them and it should be supervised. 10 is the right age, which I would say you can start introducing them to different exercises, but it should be made fun. The problem is that repetitive disciplined exercise is very boring for kids. So when parents go, they will mimic the parent, and you can also do the exercises. Once you cross 14 years old, then they will start getting the more disciplined. It's much more easier for them. So then you can get somebody to supervise till the age of 18. So somebody who
Can I
can
can
supervise,
I can
either
I
you
can I add
supervise
something,
or a trainer.
Bindu?
Yeah,
Hema Bindu?
Navniyal, we are cross 11,
1
10.
second, 1 second, because I have got two grandchildren. One is 6 years and one is 9 years. I take them to the gym. I have a gym at home, and
Yes.
both of them I make it as a play for them. And daily they do the exercise with me at about 5:30 in the morning. And one goes for the marathon also. He did about 10 kilometers marathon.
Wow.
So I think we can make them do. He got a medal recently. Other fellow does 5 kilometers. 6 years old does 5 kilometers marathons. So cycling also, they do 30 kilometers cycling. So
Wow.
it all depends on how we want to train them and how we are motivating them. That's what
All
I
about
feel.
role modeling, basically.
Yes,
This
yes.
is a question to Dr. Siddharth. Anything new thought for the cramps in adolescence? Cramps, muscle cramps.
So muscle cramps, one of the major reasons is dehydration. They don't drink enough water. So make sure that they drink a lot of water. Then deficiencies, especially micronutrient deficiencies. That is one of the most common cause of cramps, which we see, especially vitamin D deficiency or vitamin E. Also we see. So usually nuts, we ask them to eat small nuts, cashew nuts or almonds, walnuts. So that two of those itself will prevent a lot of, and dehydration is one of the major causes of cramps, which we see in children, especially. Then we have to rule out all the metabolic causes. That is always there, especially type 1 diabetes and other causes.
During this adolescent period, there is a chances of taking excess protein. How about the impact of uric acid?
Okay. Definitely excess. Excess protein is quite rare actually. Intake in children actually to get an increased of
The uric acid increases because of more purines in the diet, like seafood and all. Whey or other proteins will not directly increase the uric acid. Basically, if the kidney is functioning normally, there wouldn't be any rise of uric acid. You just have to see that it will be good hydrated so that the extra protein is washed out. But there's nothing like an excess.
Thank you, Shobna. I think, Amog, we all have to close down now. So much of
And the webinar,
enthusiasm,
the topic
really.
is so interesting that the questions are just bubbling.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, all of you are so interesting and you're all bubbling. And thank you. I think, Shamik, will you give the formal vote of thanks? But I would like to
Yes.
say one word. All of you were so excellent. And really thank our orthopedic friends who have joined us and also our sports medicine expert, Dr. Siddharth. And of course, our very own Amok Shane, who's been an athlete herself. And of course, Dr. Sridhar. He's been a captain of our cricket team. And इतना छक्का मारता है तो मैंने सोचा उसको ले आते हैं. So Dr. Sridhar, thank you. And then we have also Dr. Jayashree, who's been doing the self-defense workshops, and she shows how to kick, how to, I think that's so important for the girls, and all of you are involved actually working in the field.
Ma'am
And
is
that's
doing
great.
active gymming also. Jayashree
Yeah,
ma'am is an
yeah.
active gymmer also.
That's nice to know. So I thank Meghana, who's a very, very fresh face from Faridabad. She's been the vice president of the Faridabad branch in Haryana. And I think we should again applaud our two youth, very, very special invites. Dr. Chandrarathan, thank you. And also we had
Anandita.
Dr. Meghana, one more girl. What's
Anandita.
her name?
Anandita. Anandita.
Angita, yeah. We need to really put on record. I think we are going to, Dr. Shamik, we need to generate certificates of appreciation for this youth who are joining us, yeah, from on
Yes,
behalf
ma'am.
of the
Yes,
HA.
ma'am.
And Dr. Chandra Mohan, who has done such an excellent moderation. My God, I thought ये कितना webinar में क्या questions, you had so many questions to cover. And really
Ma'am, the
thanks that
slides
we
were
had.
excellent, ma'am. The slides have been excellent.
Yeah, and we had attendance cross nearly up to 90. I was worried that would ditch, but still people kept up the enthusiasm till the end. Thank you so much for all the delegates. Now,
Ma'am?
Shamik,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Ma'am, I would like to really talk about would-be Dr. Chandra. He had such to-the-point questions to me. He shared them with me yesterday. And I think they're so appropriate to what the youth really looks forward to.
Yeah.
And sometimes even I felt that we don't understand. We are not mentally in that phase that what they are thinking of. And
Yes,
really
that's
great.
why, getting the youth on board, it also helps us to understand them better. So
Yes.
thank you, Chanda. He's my student, actually.
It's the
Good.
most innovative
Like,
step, actually.
thank you so much, ma'am. Like you pushed it,
Involving
like you
youth.
pushed on just on me.
Yeah,
Like it's been an
involving
honor for
youth
me,
is
like
the most
sitting here.
innovative step, madam.
Yes, and
Thank you.
Anandita has also said thanks a lot. She unfortunately went to sleep because she has a match tomorrow, which is again important. But she was thrilled to come here, and her father was also very happy. And they have said to the sir who had presented first from Jamshedpur, if they have any queries, they will contact him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
ask them that this will be available on YouTube. They can
thank Dr.
watch it
Sudhir
afterwards.
Mishra, sir, who has picked up this topic. We just gave a theme of the whole year, and sir
Thank you,
has
ma'am. Thank
beautifully,
you.
thank you so much, got
Thank
out
you,
this
Dr.
so
Sudhir,
beautifully.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
And
So
thank
thank
you to
Dr.
all the
Sushma.
panelists. I was actually worried about this subject. How will it go? Whether it
I
will
know.
actually create the interest.
Yeah.
But thanks to Chandramohan and all the panelists, they did wonderful job and kept the interest alive for almost 2 hours now.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I think next year month already sir has put this topic on adolescent gynecology in the group. So please again join in large numbers for the next webinar on 18th. It is coming on third Thursday in April. Of course, wave 18 will be on April 18 again. And in between we have two webinars from Tamil Nadu and Delhi.
April 17th it is, ma'am.
Yeah,
Third
April
Thursday
17th.
is
Yeah,
April
17th and
17th.
18th will be busy again. And we have two webinars from other states, from UP, Delhi and Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu.
So please do join in large numbers. And thank Dr. Sushma ji. Over last word from you, and then we close once again. Dr. Geeta Patil ji for staying with us. And Dr. Chawla ji, who's been the chairperson, thanks for his blessings. And also our Dr. Baswaraja, who had come and in spite of his busy schedule, he's blessed us and wished us all the best. Thank you so much.
नीलम मोहन मैडम भी आई थी बीच में.
अच्छा, we just missed her. I think we should have acknowledged. We acknowledge
I
your
think so.
presence.
It was the very important topic because, like Dr. Chandramohan said right at the beginning, that the adolescents of today, they are either couch potatoes or they are going overboard. So it was very important to give them the right messages to stay somewhere in between and balance things out so that the lifestyle is better. And it was a wonderful, wonderful webinar wherein, we touched upon what was really required for the adolescents. That was the most important.
Yeah.
So hopefully we will be having more interactions in our future webinars and more of the youth voices coming up. A huge round of thanks to the scientific committee and a huge round of thanks to all our dignitaries whose presence blesses us every time. So thank you very much and looking forward to our next session. Good night to everyone who attended today
Good
and
night.
to all the
Thank you,
44
Swami.
people who are still there.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Swami.
I request
Thank
you
you.
to
Thank you
kindly
so
carry
much, sir.
out
Thank
the
you. Thank you.
Wave for Wellness and Fitness activities and please report. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
madam.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night, madam.
Thank
Bye.
you. Good night. Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.